Hello everyone, what's up? In today's video we will see how to easily achieve a cool rust effect on tank exhausts or exhaust covers using a Scotch-Brite pad as a stencil. Whether you're a wargamer or a scale modeler, if you want to learn more about weathering, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell. So a couple of months ago, one of my first community members, Rick, told me about this technique of using a scour pad as a stencil. Intrigued by what seemed like a bizarre idea to me, I decided to give this a try. Here you can see how I touch up the undercoat of my Panzer exhaust covers using Tamiya Hull Red. While you watch me airbrush this, let me explain what you're gonna see next. The first thing I did was pick up a scour pad and pick at it until I created a small rectangle that was about half the thickness of the entire pad. I then put it around my Panzer exhaust cover using double-sided tape and got ready to airbrush my rust tones. The first color I airbrushed was Ammo Medium Rust with a few drops of acrylic thinner, sprayed at around 18 psi. I followed this up with Light Rust, also by Ammo of MiG. So here you can see what the first one looked like. I was quite happy with the results. On to the second one. I decided to reuse the stencil, and in order not to clean the airbrush too many times, I now started with Light Rust instead. That looked quite striking, but it was time for a mid-tone. I applied medium rust once again, hoping that the results would be as good as before. Time to uncover it. Yeah, I was very pleased with this. Before I moved on to chipping, I wanted to make sure that my work would be protected, especially given that even the lacquer paints seem to struggle with the photo etch parts. Therefore I went for Tamiya Flat Clear with lacquer thinner rather than an acrylic varnish. Another reason for this was that a lacquer thinner would not react with either water or chipping fluid, giving me additional peace of mind. So time to apply chipping fluid. For best results, apply 2 wet coats, letting it dry for a few minutes in between. All that you need to do after that is to let it dry for something like 20 minutes. Do not let it dry for hours, and do not use a hairdryer. Applying a top coat in combination with chipping fluid has become one of the few occasions when I actually use acrylic paints. In any case, this ammo paint was easy to apply and very forgiving, despite the fact that my approach here was rather heavy-handed. After 20 minutes of drying time, I was ready for the real fun. To begin with, I applied some water to the entire surface, just enough to make it begin to react with the chipping fluid. Then I began to apply some friction, gradually increasing it, making sure that the surface and the brush were both damp but not dripping wet. In my opinion, the key here is to try and keep the patches random. Remember, symmetry is one of the main enemies of weathering. By the way, I have to say that filming this particular video without dropping something or putting my hands in front of the camera was quite a challenge. So my apologies if the visuals aren't great. I hope that the usefulness and simplicity of these techniques I'm demonstrating make up for that. So here you have the finished results. Next week I'll be back with something entirely different. In the meantime, if you want to know more about liquid mask shipping, click on the video on the left, and if you want to see more work with oils, check out the one on the right. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.